Hello there, ladies and germs. It's another episode of Car Talk Today. That's CARTAWK for the day. Now, for a little side job, a little side cash, I drive Uber. I live in Southern California in the Los Angeles metro area. And I think it's a really good place to drive for Uber to make a little extra cash every now and again. I'm definitely not rich, and Uber helps me to become a little less poor. So I thought that I would use some of my knowledge in today's episode of Car Talk to really kind of give you at home the opportunity to learn a little bit about Uber, how to get into Uber if it's worth it, and kind of the credentials and what you need in order to become an Uber driver for whatever reason you may be. So there's 1,000,001 ways why people are interested in signing up for Uber. So it could be for extra money, it could be for work. It could be, you're able to work your own hours. You can work at 4 a.m. if you want. You can work at 5 a.m. You can work any time of day you want, from noon till sundown. But the question is what do you need to drive? So first and foremost, what do you need to even be allowed to drive Uber? For starters, you need to be at least 21 years of age. You need to have a license and have that license for at least a year or 3 years if you're under the age of 23. So for all of you people 23 and older, as long as you've had a license for 1 year, you're all set. You can basically begin the onboarding process. Now, you also have to have a 4-door vehicle that is 10 years or newer. Now, there are some exceptions based on the different city you live in. I, myself, my car is within that 10-year limit, so I don't worry about that. And I do live, like I said, in Southern California, the LA metro area. So that's just how it works here. In different places, if you're in Texas or Georgia, some other state, it may be different for you, but that is how it works here. Now, you also need license plates for the state that you live in. And you need a social security number. And you need to pass a driving record and a background check as well that Uber will do for you. And I do believe it is free. Don't quote me on that. I'm quite certain it is free, though. So if you have all these things, if you're ready to go, you say, look, I'm all set, I'm situated, I'm ready to get it started. You have to set up, you can either set up an appointment or you can just show right up to what are called Uber Green Light Hubs. Now, what is an Uber Green Light Hub? It's basically a shack or sometimes just a tent that Uber will rent out at a parking lot or a certain area somewhere in your town or city in order for you to be able to have your car checked and make sure that it's able to be used as an Uber car. Now, basically what they do for these checks is they'll walk up to your window, they'll tell you to roll your windows up and down, they'll have you do your left blinker, then your right blinker, they'll have you mess around with your mirrors, they'll have you pump the brakes to make sure that the lights go on, and they'll probably check your VIN number as well, which is that little number, that little barcode on the front of your car. They're basically going to be looking for cracks in your windshield and things of the like to just make sure that your car is road ready to be able to pick up passengers and you're not just skating by, holding on for dear life when you drive your car. So now you've been approved by the driver app. You've went through the Uber Green Light. You're ready to get started and you're ready to make money and get paid immediately. I think that's one of the major benefits of driving for Uber is that you can get paid the second you start doing rides and making that money and picking people up. But in order to make any of that money, what do you have to do? Well, you have to connect an account, a direct deposit account, to the Uber driver app so you can get paid, basically. The pay period is Monday at 4 a.m. through the following Monday at 4 a.m. So I personally get paid on Tuesday, but when I did a little research, I read that a lot of people get paid on Thursday, some people get paid on Friday. I don't know why it's Tuesday here for me, but everywhere online I read was Thursday for everyone. Now, I'm just saying Southern California, at least in the LA metro, I personally get paid on Tuesday. Maybe that's just how it is for this little area. But make sure you tether that, whether it's a checking account, that direct deposit account to the Uber app so you can get paid. Once you're done with that, you're ready to get going. So a little backstory on Uber before you get going is that Uber's been in the news consistently for years due to whether it's the ownership, the treatment of its female employees, and they're currently at war in California right now over their self-employment contract that they have with you. They are calling you a self-employed driver, which means basically You work whenever you want, which is a positive for you, but they don't have to give you any benefits. There's nothing that they really need to give you besides they do insure your car while you're on the road, but you do need to have your own insurance in order for them to allow you to drive. So, when you're on the road, Uber has their own kind of proprietary in-house insurance that you are under as long as you are driving for Uber. Anytime you have people in the car, you are working for them and you are insured by them. But you need your own insurance otherwise. Now, with these issues Uber's been in the news for, especially in California, Uber has gotten a little worried, a little nervous about kind of the status of their drivers, whether they're going to be considered employees or not of the company, or if they're just private contractors. They want it to stay that way. Now, I've been driving for a few years now. When I first started driving, it was really cool and everything was very easy for me to understand. But once they came under new ownership, they're trying to find new ways to make money, basically. So, how do they do this? Well, they basically make the quality of life of the app a lot more difficult and a lot worse, in my opinion. They did little things like have the surge pricing or the bonus price. Anytime there's a really busy area, you would get a bonus. So maybe it would be your regular pay times 2 or times 3 or times 4. I've seen times 8 before and made a lot of money off that surge pricing with Uber. Well, they changed that under the new ownership, and they ended up just giving you a set amount of money. So instead of multiplying your payment by anything, times 2, 1.5, whatever, it now says plus 4, plus 250. It's just giving you a set amount of money that you'll be making. They're not multiplying your total earnings by anything. You just get that set amount. That angered and upset a lot of drivers. Naturally, they're going to start thinking that maybe they do want to be considered their own. They do want to be considered employees and not their own private contractor. It might benefit them more. And Uber has managed to work a little bit and help out the drivers in that regard. So for instance, if I currently go out and drive right this second in my car, Uber has done some pretty cool things where when you hop in your car now, if you get a ride that comes up, they will show you how far that ride is going to be, the distance, exactly where you pick them up, and where you drop them off, which was never, ever in the history of Uber something they did. So that's very, very cool. They let you know basically what you're getting into before you even get into it, on top of being able to see the rating of the rider. So you can see how far you're going, the rating of the rider, and a new really cool thing that it is a very rough estimate, but usually pretty spot on, of how much you're going to make in this ride. So if I'm going to be driving 3 blocks and make $4, I'm just going to turn it down and say no. In the past, you would be basically reprimanded, or Uber would not be very happy when you would decline trips. And there was a time when they would actually kick you out of being online in the app. They would just turn you offline if you didn't accept enough rides at once. Well, I consistently will decline, however many times I need to, until I find the right ride for me. Granted, not everybody's going to be able to do this, but this is what works best for me. I'm usually looking for long distance trips. I don't have to worry about stopping and going in the city. I can go far and I can make a lot of money as soon as humanly possible. So, you have the option when you make money to withdraw the money immediately, which we were going over a little earlier, but you also have the option to just keep it there and get paid once a week. If you choose to withdraw your money immediately, you will have a small fee attached, which I always advise not to pay, because over time that will add up. It could be just 50 cents a week. It could be $1 a week, but that does add up based on the amount of money you're withdrawing at one time. I advise you not to do that, but you do have the option to withdraw your money the second you make it, which is pretty cool. Basically, Uber is going to show you, which I'm going to try to put an image of in here. Uber is going to show you everything on your screen. You use their in-house proprietary, basically Google Maps Uber version, which is just a dark version of Google Maps, and it's basically not as good. It's basically what it comes down to. And while you're sitting there, you're just going to see a map in your location as a little blue arrow or dot on your screen. Once someone is looking for a ride and you are in their vicinity, it will pop up and it will show you the distance. It will show you the rough estimate of the price. And it's going to show you a map of exactly where you're going on the screen. If you're not interested, decline it. If you get cold feet, if you don't like the rider's rating, click decline. Don't worry about it. Uber used to try to stress you out about this and really get you anxious to accept every ride, but that's not the case anymore. There's no penalty or punishment for not accepting rides. So don't accept unless you really are ready to take this ride. If you choose to accept, you just click wherever it pops up and shows you the amount you should make, touch it. Click it, you will then be in. You begin. All you have to do then is allow Google to tell you where to go. It's just like following Google Maps, Apple Maps. You're just going wherever they're telling you. When you get there, somebody's going to get in the car. Make 100% sure it's the right person, and I personally prefer them to sit in the back seat, but some people like to sit up in the front seat with the driver. It's perfectly fine. A lot of people do it. I prefer them to sit in the back. Obviously, you don't have the choice if there's 4 or 5 plus people getting into your car. Once they get into the car, at the bottom of the screen, you're going to swipe across the screen and begin the ride. The rest is really easy. You chat them up, have a great conversation, talk about whatever it is. People always want to know where my terrible Canadian accent is from, which is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, just to let everyone know that, not Canada. And we have great conversation. If you have a good conversation, if you have a good time, sometimes you might get tipped. Sometimes it works out for you. So drive, have a good time. Just make sure you're following the rules. Try not to break the speed limit. Try not to, be crazy in the car, and be respectful, because 9 times out of 10, the rider will be respectful to you as well. They're just trying to get from point A to point B. Upon arrival, you're going to stop the car. Thank them, they will get out, perhaps they tip you, perhaps they don't, and you do the same swipe that you did to start the ride to end the ride. Swipe across the bottom of your phone screen. The ride is over. Uber will then give you a message of how much you made, and if you want to know more, you can click on the Earnings tab in the top corner of your phone. The Earnings tab, it kind of looks like a little bar graph. Click that Earnings tab, you'll see how much you earned in the week, in the month, etc. On top of the screen, you're going to see the amount you've made for the day at the top of the screen. You can click that basically to see how much you made throughout the whole week, or how much you've made just in the past ride you made. Totally up to you, or the past day, whatever you want to see. That amount will always be at the top of your phone screen, so try not to forget that. Upon that, you're basically going to be driving from here on out. Make sure you're following the rules, make sure you're having fun, and make sure you're not driving like a nutcase. And people are going to appreciate you, people are going to like you. It's how you get tips, and to be honest, most importantly, it's how you keep your driver rating as high as humanly possible. Now, my driver rating is 4.97, which sounds wonderful and great, and I think it is. But you want it to be as close to 5.0 as humanly possible, because it is very easy for a few bad votes, a few people who vote you 1 star or 2 stars out of 5, to really destroy that ranking or rating you have, which is very important to keep it as high as humanly possible. Now, if you do have a spat or an issue with why you've been rated poorly, you may email Uber through the app, and sometimes they'll help you settle that situation if there was any problem. Some people will give you a bad rating for something ridiculous, but try to keep it as high as possible. Just like you wouldn't want to pick up a rider that says, 4.1, they probably wouldn't want to get in a car that is a 4.1 rating. That was a quick rundown of Uber and how to get started with Uber. Thank you, ladies and germs, for listening. I'm going to be attaching my Uber driver code on the bottom top somewhere on this video when I get the chance. And basically, whenever you start becoming an Uber driver, use my code to onboard and get started with Uber. Like I said, it's going to be somewhere around here. Use my code, use my code, use my code. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Have a great rest of your day or night. This has been an episode of Car Talk for the day. Have a good one.